start yelling.
Damn, Twinkie.
Okay, Boomer.
God, that song gets me hyped up every single time. I give counsel. All right, so before we do anything, I just wanted to give a big shout out to the homies, two Star Wars nerds. They hit 1K today. I'm wearing the shirt in appreciation. We love you guys. We're pumped for you. We're stoked. Congratulations, man. And thank you, everybody, from my community that's come and supported, everybody from their community that's coming over to support me. We love you guys. Thank you so much for just being a part of it. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that. We're obviously missing them tonight. Over the next 2 weeks after this, unfortunately, Mr. Mustache is going to be gone. He's got some workplace responsibilities that he's got to take care of. So we'll be having some extra guests in. And tonight, our first one is somebody you know, because he's thrown wrenches at your head more than once. It's Brandon. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Absolutely, man. So interesting couple days for Star Wars news. Not a whole lot of crazy leaks or anything like that, but something I did want to talk about that I thought was cool. Another article out of Star Wars Newsnet, because these guys are just consistently pumping out stuff that I hope is true. Book of Boba Fett. He's going to be in revenge mode. We've heard this time and time again. It's going to be all killer, no filler. It's going to be super hype. Crazy. He's going to be killing people left and right. I found an article earlier today that I want to go over. Well, not an article, I should say. It was on Wikipedia as I was reading through about Boba, studying up, getting ready for the show. But I'm interested to think, who is he going to be going after right now?
Well, I mean, it started with, it started right out of the gate with once he got his armor. He went right after Bib. I think that was square one. Maybe we'll get a little bit of background on that, but I think that's kind of where it started. It seems like they're setting it up kind of like a Kill Bill Star Wars edition, right? And basically she's got her, he's got his hit list, and we're going to see him maybe off someone every single time, every single episode. So it just depends on, where they're going to go with it. But I think that's a fun idea. I like it. I can get behind it.
Do you see anybody in particular you think he's going to be going after?
I kind of hope the first one isn't a go after as much as it is a peek into how he became the Boba Fett we know. So I think, like I said, I think the best way to do it would be no filler, all killer, and just bring him out of the gate with the Cad Bane flashback. I think that would be the best way, because then that gives us the first. Maybe that was the first in his hit list to become the best. Maybe that's what we're going to get.
Damn, right off the bat, just Cad Bane immediately.
I think so. I think you got to solidify how bad of a mother he is, right? I mean, we saw how awesome he was there, but now picture that in his prime, taking out Cad Bane, right? Or current Bosk, or I just think there's going to be a lot of storytelling with all the murder.
Okay, I'm up with that. Matt, what are you thinking?
I mean, personally, I'd like to see what happened with the whole Sarlacc business, right? I mean, I know a lot of people go towards the bounty hunters and all that, and I'm sure we'll get there, right? But I'm super curious to see what happened. Do we see him thinking about stuff? Does he get right out? I mean, that to me, that's very interesting, right? And then, I personally think we're gonna get at least a Han Solo, right? Now, how they're going to do that and who they're going to do, who is going to do that for them, I don't know, but it seems likely we would get a Han Solo. And of course, there's always speculation that Luke will show up, right? I hope they don't overuse Luke. I mean, I don't know that I personally want to see Luke in every series that's coming out, but I guess we'll see.
What was the name of the guy who played the new Han Solo? Do you remember?
I thought it was David something, but I could be totally wrong.
No, it's
Oh gosh, Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Alden
Yeah.
Ehrenreich. So, would you be happier seeing a de-aged Ford, or do you want to see Alden do it?
I don't really care either way. I mean,
Really?
they can DH Ford if they want to. They have enough screen time of him over the last 25 years, so it's not like they can't pull young images of him. But I don't know, man. I think I mean, use the kid and have our YouTube buddy redo it,
Deepfake him.
and just
That's
deep.
what I would like to see. I think. Yeah.
I think to make all of you guys happy, I think that would be the smartest. And being as you brought that guy into Disney or into Lucasfilms, I think that's a big tell as what they can, what they want to do,
Right.
and the direction they're looking to go. So
Well,
Yeah,
and
they didn't hire him for no reason.
And I think a deepfaked Ford would probably be more appropriate for the time period, potentially, right, than the other fella
Right.
who played a much younger version of Ford right now on the whole solo business, right? I mean, I think we have an opportunity for Kira to make an appearance in some way, right? I know she's back in the
Right.
comics, and I think they have plans for that character. She was arguably one of the more popular characters in the Solo movie, although I think I like the Solo. I don't think I like the Solo movie. I know I like the Solo movie. A lot of people are not big fans of that movie.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
a lot of people hate on it, and that's kind of what that's kind of where I was, without poking, I was poking. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is there's a lot of people that don't like it, and there's a lot of people that do, and I'm in the camp that it's entertaining. I don't
Right.
really, for me, that's a story. They messed up. I mean, they messed up a couple things. I'm not a big fan of the dice. I'm not a big fan of Sabak. So those are just a couple things that I'm really not a fan of. If I wanted to see the Lando and Han shooting dice for the Falcon. I didn't want to see them playing Sabak for the Falcon. So
I gotcha.
stuff like that is kind of where it threw me off. I don't care about the rest of the movie, as far as canon is concerned. But for me, that was a big one. Is that's an old story that I think they kind of screwed the pooch on.
So speaking of, right, Matt, you had said something about Luke coming in. So I was just perusing Wikipedia. There is a scene where Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett meet in the comics, right? That's pretty intense. Basically, Boba beats the living shit out of Luke.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I can read a little clip of it if you want.
Sure, do it.
Okay. So basically he winds up finding a moisture farmer and coercing the name of Luke Skywalker out, right? So this is how it goes. Boba stealthily closed in on them, being Luke and R2, as they entered the hut, and they're entering Obi-Wan's hut. Boba throws a flash grenade that temporarily blinds Skywalker and short circuits R2-D2. He moved in and hit Skywalker across the head with his carbine and ordered him to surrender. Skywalker struck Boba in the stomach, hitting Boba's armor, but as he was blinded, mistook Boba for a stormtrooper. He deduced that since Boba hadn't killed him, whoever had hired the bounty hunter wanted Skywalker alive, so he ignited his lightsaber after Boba warned that Skywalker needn't be walking. So they start beating the crap out of each other. He's swinging wildly. Boba shoots him through the shoulder with his blaster, and then shoots a fiber cord around his legs and drops him. And it's just like this crazy fight. And this quote is, "You're running out of options and blood. Put down the lightsaber." I just thought, like, how cool would that be to see in live action? You know what I mean?
What's that reference?
This is one of the comic books. I don't know which one.
Hmm.
I don't know which one, but it's pretty sweet looking. Here, hold on. Let me share screen. Bam. Pretty sick.
I don't know what you're seeing.
Oh, you can't see it?
It didn't
I
share.
was like bam. I was waiting for the bam.
Stupid. I was being
Here it comes.
stupid.
Coming now.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right.
I mean, that could be pretty cool, I feel like. Even if this happened a long time ago, right? I don't know what the time frame is on that. I was just reading through it and I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. That's really cool. Just to kind of and I feel like if we're gonna get here we go. It's the Star Wars main run 2016. So I think that would be really cool to set up if we saw that his ability to fight Jedi if he's gonna go find Mace Windu later.
Oh, Mace.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to see Mace. Do you not want to see Mace?
I don't really care to see Mace.
What?
Doesn't really
Matt, I need to hear what you okay. I can't be alone in this. Do you not want to see Mace?
I have to tell you all honestly, I personally also do not care about seeing Mace again.
This is heresy. This is bullshit.
I'm sorry.
I mean, look.
Fuck this.
I mean, look. If I'm not, there's a lot of ways to play this. So if they want to play it where I need a little Mace background before you can just bring Mace back, right? Like I can't.
Okay.
Like I need a little. Where the hell you been? You can't just come in and fight Boba and be like, "Oh my god, that's it." Like you got to give me some context there. Like where you been? Where you hiding? What you been doing?
What if he says that in
that shit's important to me.
What if he talks to him before he kills him? Right?
I mean, yeah, they're gonna have dialogue, but I don't think it's gonna be much. I think Boba sees Mace, Boba goes for Mace. I think Mace sees Boba, vice versa, right? Like Boba tried to kill him during the Clone Wars.
Mace doesn't give a crap.
I mean, you don't know what state Mace is in. I mean, he tried to kill him during the Clone Wars, or I'm sorry, during Rebels. He tried to kill him during the that whole thing. So young Boba tried to get at Mace once, so he knew him. Recognized him once he saw him as a growner man. I just think it's I don't think there's much dialogue going on between those two characters. I'm just saying.
Happy belated Dat Boy Steve.
Yay! Birthdays
So
are
happy.
great.
You finally made 16 years old. We are stoked.
Oh, I remember those days. Enjoy
Shaking my damn head. Keep bringing back dead characters. Takes away any consequences that there was.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, if Mace Windu's alive, cool, right? I'm down. Let's see it. But if he's not, then that's okay with me too. Like I don't need to see it. It's not something that's on my necessary wish list. But I think I would rather see more, Boba maybe going after the whatever syndicate is up, right? So whoever's in charge of syndicates right now, stuff like that. There's got to be other bounty hunters out there.
See, this is bullshit talking right here, though, because that's the way it was intended by George. But George is on record saying he doesn't think that Mace died.
Well, and like I said, I think a lot of people fall out of the sky and don't die, right? So for me, it's fine. It's fine if he's alive. Ahsoka, same kind of fall. Anakin fell off of some very tall stuff and did the same thing. So there's a lot of examples of them not dying. The question is, was he conscious on the way down? Right. That's really what it comes down to. If he's conscious on the way down, then he's enjoying the ride, even though he's only got one mitt. He's chicken winged. But I don't expect him to not survive. My question is, that's a long. Okay, number one, you're surviving the entire 19 years of the duration of the Empire without being sensed, found, or seen. Right? Then you go the entire duration after that during Luke High, Mr. Force, right? Mr. Can Do No Wrong is the strongest Jedi ever. And he can't feel a Mace Windu, somebody of that power level, running around the galaxy. You know what I mean? There's just so many
flashbacks, bro. I mean, so much of this show is going to be depicting flashbacks, right? This has been talked about a lot. Like, I think for sure we're going to get a Jango Fett. I think we're going to get some Jango. We're going to get some Daddy Boba.
Maybe.
You really don't think we're going to get some Jango Fett? You
got to find the right kid to play that part. We've seen it in live action, right? You got to find the right kid to play that part. That's you know, fans don't like it when people play with casting like that. It's a
Right.
dangerous slope. So unless you find the right kid that looks just like that kid.
Well, we already have Daniel Logan, right?
So I think it's dangerous. Flashbacks are dangerous with a young Bobo and a Django because you know, that's dangerous. Just with time jumping and a young Boba would be tough to cast. You'd have to
I think I see some in the chat, right, along the same lines as what I'm thinking, right? They have to tell a coherent story here, right? I think they have 8 episodes. I understand they want to flashback and do some things, I think, to fill in the story, right? But I think they really need to walk a line between doing that and flashing back and flashing forward. And there's speculation that part of the reason why they're changing his armor again, I think, in this most recent rumor, is to help differentiate when it's the present and when it's the past and some other things, right? So I think they just need to be careful, right? Otherwise, people may get confused or it may just be overdone. And so that's my concern about the flashbacks.
I hear you for sure, but we also, like we're always saying, we want connective tissue. We want to know stuff. We're filling in gaps, right? And so I saw it in the.
It's not the Mace Windu show. It's the Boba show, right?
Right.
So
no, 100%.
Mace Windu steals the show.
Mace
right?
Windu.
Mace Windu.
Poor
Mace
Windu.
Windu. You know, Mace steals the show. He shows up. He steals the show.
Until
right?
Boba fucking murders him in cold blood.
And again, I mean, this isn't the Mace Windu that we remember. This is going to be a gritty, non-order, no Yoda to reel him in, Vapod using Mace Windu, right? This isn't going to be the Mace Windu from the Clone Wars. This is going to be a gritty man with one arm, you know, one mechanical arm. So I just don't see the Mace nice guy getting shot by Boba. I think he starts playing dirty like Vader with Luke in the Bespin hallways, just throwing shit. You know,
right.
Like, okay, you want to play games? Cool. Boom, boom. I'm done with the nice guy Jedi Order stuff. Let's go.
Right.
And so I think that holds a huge thing because, you know, a lot of these guys are used to the nice Jedi, right? Not the post Empire Jedi. And I think the post Empire Jedi are pretty gritty when it comes to using their Force abilities and not having any remorse for who they're coming after, right? Like they're just walking through people. There's no more like, oh, I have a council to report to or have to stay in the light because, you know, we're fighting this mythical Sith. No, the Sith have been in power. It's time to get dirty. It's time to get your hands dirty if you're going to survive.
And Mace would be the guy to do it.
Right. And I don't think he stays off the radar long enough to last the entire duration of the Empire without being discovered. So that's where it gets greasy for me, because if we're going to see Mace Windu and it is going to be a flashback, it's got to be early in the Empire, because I don't think somebody of his power level hides without a temple or a Sith planet to protect them, right? Because Mace is powerful, right? Number 2 to Yoda in the council. So for me, I just feel like he's got to either hide somewhere, or if, you know, knowing Mace, he's pissed off, he's getting a mechanical arm and he's going to go start chopping people up, trying to get back to the Emperor. So if we see him in Boba, I just feel it could get real weird.
It's a slippery slope for sure. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And, you know, there was one comment earlier, and forgive me, I don't remember who said it, but I have it pulled up here. I need Mace to stay dead. His death is a great act of evil from Anakin, right? So that's one of those things that you have to be careful of, is that you're not devaluing stuff that's come before it just to do fan service, right?
Well, I mean, but at the same time, I like the angle, but I don't really agree with that, because yes, it is the grand evil that Anakin did was stopping Mace from killing Palpatine, right? And cutting his arm off. He didn't electrocute him and throw him out the window. He just preempted the slaughtering in his eyes of Palpatine. And so for me, that doesn't devalue it if he's alive, because he still cut his arm off, right? Like you're still the one that de-armed me and disarmed me.
Right.
So in one motion. So I don't think it takes away from the violent act and the dark act. I think it, if anything, him being alive maybe makes it better, right? Because there is that glimmer of hope. Maybe Anakin always thought it was his fault, and
Right.
kind of holds that with him, but really it was Palpatine that electrocuted him and threw him out the window. So
I like that. And the other, oh, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to say, along the same lines as what his session was saying, right? The biggest problem I have is Mace in the Mandalorian timeline doesn't work for me, right? It wouldn't seem to fit. So then that says it's some kind of in the past flashback for a reason or another,
right.
that we would have to see him. And so what would the reason be other than to close down the loop on what happened to him and
Right.
and why he didn't persist and why he wasn't hunted, and did Boba have something to do with that? And what I don't want to see is some pitiful Mace, right, who's all contrite
Not another
and
Luke
feels,
Skywalker.
you know what I mean? I
Jake.
wouldn't, I would hope that they wouldn't do that, right? But I would, my personal opinion is I would rather not see him than run the risk that they screw it up.
I would honestly, if you're going to give me a Mace Windu in the current Star Wars, give me, and I've been saying this for a while, give me a dark Mace. Give me a Mace that's hunting down the offspring of Anakin Skywalker, right? Like, give me that, right? Like, give me a real, like, okay, you cut off my arm and basically destroyed the entire council, killed younglings, did all this stuff.
That's filthy.
Yeah, like I want to see him hiding, right? Like gathering power in the Sith temple. Like I said, in the Sith temple below the Jedi temple would be so poetic. Hiding right under Palpatine's nose the whole time, gathering power in that dark temple, learning the secrets of the Sith, and then after the Emperor is gone, or even as Luke is a little kid, maybe in Kenobi, when Luke is like 9 or 10, you see Mace, a dark Mace with a red saber, show up on Tatooine and asking Kenobi, how can you guard his child, right? The offspring, right? The offspring of the one who defied the council and led to this whole galaxy in peril. How can you, Kenobi, protect his offspring? And then it's Mace and Kenobi facing off to the death of Mace Windu. Give me that Mace. Versus,
and that's why the Inquisitors come, and he puts Mace's body out for the Inquisitors to find.
Yeah,
to throw him off the track. Oh my god, I love it! It's canon. Right? It's canon.
Yeah, right. Like, that's the Boba. I don't want to see it in Boba. I want to see that in Kenobi. Like, show me Mace showing up to Tatooine and getting on Kenobi's ass about protecting the offspring of Darth Vader. Like, that's just money in the bank right there.
That's one of those good, like, why we really need a Star Wars what ifs. Just give us that there. I'd be so happy.
I mean, I hope they're listening. Pay attention. This is the money. I mean, that's
the future of Star Wars here on X-Wing. Come on, man.
I mean, that's the score right there, guys. Don't give me no simp Mace. Give me an angry Mace. Give me a dark Mace. Give me the Anakin without the suit Mace, right? Give me that kind of power level with that kind of rage, right? And the hatred and the suffering consuming somebody who and Mace was always kind of a dick, right? Whatever, citizen, this isn't for you to hear. Like, oh, what a jerk.
You're just still salty because of how he treated Ahsoka.
No, he was always the guy that was like, oh, the chosen one. Like, he was almost jelly of Anakin because of his chosen one, like, status, right? He always seemed jelly. Even the little boy Anakin, he just seemed like he doesn't belong here, even though he was knocking those questions out on the speeder and like he was just killing it. And he's like, nah, I don't like him. I don't like him.
I hear everything you're saying, obsession about evil Mace and all that, but I think were he to be brought back, we're much more likely to see the error of my ways Mace, the atoning Mace, the boy, I was wrong about this, how can I help fix it Mace. I really don't think they're gonna go dark with Mace if he's back. I really don't.
Dude, there's no way.
No, I don't think so, but that's the Mace I want. If
Yeah.
you're gonna bring back Mace Windu, he can't just be, you know, hiding in the streets, you know. No, I mean, you know, I like Mace Windu as a character, but I also feel like he was if Yoda was the voice of reason, Mace was the voice of instant judgment.
Oh, action for sure.
Right? Like instant judgment. Like no time to think about it. I gotta judge you on this right now instead of the entirety of your work, so to speak.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%.
But I don't want him to be dead. I mean, he doesn't have to be dead.
I feel like, okay, so I'm curious now because chat has been back and forth so much about this one. I want to see a 1 in the chat if you want to see Mace Windu back, 2 in the chat if you don't want to see Mace Windu back. And we're working on Nightbot so we can do polls and stuff like that. But for now, we're doing it old school.
Ooh, Nightbot.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Ooh, you guys are so fancy.
I think Mace needs to stay dead. Like already mentioned, it was a big part of Anakin's rise by killing one of the most powerful Jedi that he's known since he's been a little kid. Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't kill him.
I hear you.
He didn't kill him. He didn't kill him. He just chopped his arm off. It's like saying Dooku killed, you know, Anakin because he chopped his arm off and threw him off a building. Like
it is like overwhelmingly that they want him back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so that kind of goes back to, I don't know if it was Fulcrum that said it or not, but that he's afraid that people are going to be disappointed if they don't get him in Book of Boba Fett. And I just feel like it doesn't matter what they drop, like people are going to be happy. And I don't think people are going to be disappointed. You know, I mean, Rob's been talking it up. I know, Matt, this has been a point of contention for you. You feel like he's talking it up too much?
I like the confidence, right? And we know Robert Rodriguez, right? We know he's a diehard, right? From the doing stuff in his backyard and just everything about the guy is genuine, right? So I want to believe that what he's saying is true. But the more I hear things like, I'll say it's going to over deliver because I know it will, and all this kind of stuff, I always think to myself, this is what gets us into trouble. Right. I would rather him say nothing at all and have it be the best thing ever and everyone overjoyed than for him to continue to talk it up and people then only to say, well, it didn't live up to his expectations.
What do they say? They say walk quietly with a big
Yeah.
Well, and it's just dangerous, right? I just feel like I know Samuel L. Jackson wants to do it. It's just a dangerous slope.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And you know, this Bayou's, I was kind of talking with him for a second there. So Josh was talking to Dude, Trust Me, Bro. It's just like your guaranteed source for rumors, right? I
am the source.
Everyone who was all gung-ho, not hung-ho. That's one hung-ho about retconning the sequels, and they're doing the exact furthest opposite of that. So there are some rumblings that I've heard about that basically Mando is going to run into, and I don't know if this is what Josh was talking about. I think I might have missed it. I don't know if that was the members only stream or what. That Mando is going to run into a young Rey at some point on Jakku.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's pretty much almost confirmed now.
So my question is this too soon? You can be all right there. Did you get your spinach pumped up, ready to go? All right, let's hear it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, look, I know a lot of sequel haters, and some of the sequel haters are good people that I enjoy spending time with. But at the same time, cool. I mean, I feel like Bad Batch is giving us a way into the Palpatine clones with Omega and with the final scene with Lama Su. So I feel like those kind of scenes kind of lead us up to the first of Palpatine's clones of himself, the ones that don't have Force abilities, and maybe we do see a young Rey. I mean, it's only 5 years after. So what? I mean,
Well, and also remember, right, in that Mandalorian episode in the cloning tank when they were in that abandoned Imperial base, right, we saw a clone that many speculated was an early Snoke or was a Snoke, right?
Yeah.
It didn't ruin the Mandalorian series. Who even remembers that now, other than me bringing it up, right?
Well,
So
that was more for me. That was more pre-Kaminoans, right? That didn't really look Snoky to me. That looked like Kaminoans without the long neck with bigger heads. And that's kind of how for me, how it felt like they were talking about that lab, like that was an early Kaminoan lab. But
no,
for me,
I mean in the Mandalorian. I don't mean in
oh,
that match. I mean in the live action when they were bumbling around and they found the tank and that tank didn't break, right? It looked like it could have been a Snoke in there. And the music played and everyone's like, oh, they're even playing Snoke's music. All I'm saying is it didn't ruin the Mandalorian series.
No.
Right? I mean, we all know Snoke comes, right? We all know Rey comes along later. They're not going to retcon the sequels. They're just not going to do it.
It's a billion. Right. It's a $1 billion investment, right? I understand. Like, you can't pull your cards and your chips back off the table, right? They're already down. You can't just scoop them up and say, "Let me try again." Right?
You can if you want to make more money.
I think they're going to make a ton of money in this new phase. I don't think they have to worry about the sequel phase anymore for the next 10 years. I think they're just doing what they're doing right now, and people are going to buy the merch.
Right. So the question is, like, how many people do you lose the second you broach back into it? You know what I mean?
I don't think you lose anyone. I personally,
really,
I think you lose the same vocal folks who may not even be watching it to begin with, right? Because their vocality tells them that they shouldn't.
right?
But if Mando encounters a young Rey, are you going to stop watching? Am I going to stop watching?
Right.
Nobody's going to stop watching anything.
Hey, oh my God, we finally got a troll.
Yeah, I got him.
Sweet.
I got him.
Who the hell is Cortex Zero?
This is a spam bot, right? Is Solonic or anybody else out there? This is what happened on EBN, right? Where they're all going to come on different accounts.
Well, nobody donates to my streams, and this guy's selling prophylactics.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry.
I think it's too early to see a young Rey. Right. It's number one. It's too early. Even if they fast forward 5 years in Mandalorian, it's still too early to see a young Rey. The earliest we could see a young Rey would be 20 years after the Empire, because she's like 19-ish when we see her in Return of the Jedi. 18-ish. She's still a pup. So I don't think we see her in Mandalorian at all.
Well, so that's the trick, right? Is that can you tell that little guy to take a nap?
He's
It's what they do, right? They'll just keep trying it on different accounts, the same. And the problem is the account, like this one's mac and cheese, right? It's obviously not the same mac and cheese account, but you hide one and then they come back on another. It's somebody in their basement just doing this.
Anyway. Oh, dang it. It's moving so quick. I keep clicking on them. But anyways,
yeah, so I think that's the silly point. I don't think we see Rey at this point. I think that's going to be a much later conversation.
So yeah, that was going to be the point moving forward, was that they were going to, so Mandalorian 3 seasons or 4 is the first question. And then they're saying that after 4, basically it's not going to be called The Mandalorian anymore. And what's going to happen is they're going to basically rebrand the show. They're going to keep telling the stories, but it's not going to be under the storyline of The Mandalorian. And that's where they're going to run into Rey. And I get it, I suppose, but it just, I don't know. It seems like a lot to speculate
It's too early
right now. Yeah,
It's too early. We're still in the first couple innings of the game.
yeah.
You know, everybody's talking about the 7th inning stretch, right? We're still, you know, first inning, bottom 9. You know, it's not it's not, you know, we're not that deep yet. That's a lot of storytelling left. Now John and Dave are thinking that far ahead, right? They're thinking into season 4 and things like that, but
Yeah.
But they're not solidified anything at this point.
Could be about Grogu. I'm still wondering if we're going to see Grogu rescued from the temple at some point. Like, if they're going to do that in animation or live action. I feel like anything with Grogu moving forward, they're going to have to do live action.
I really want to see a live action moment where, like I said, I want to see R2's jetpacks in live action. That's what I want to see, right? Like, just like we did on Geonosis when he was kind of flying around, but that was a little more CG'd. I'd love for them to do it like that big droid flying with some rocket boosters with a little Grogu on his back.
That'd be kind of killer, huh?
That'd be super. Like, think of how like Grogu was like having such a good time floating in the wind when he was getting like held by Mando.
Yeah, same thing. Like,
yeah, but on the back, like on his back, like Yoda used to, right? Because Yoda used to ride R2, like almost saddle style, and so I would think it would be cool to have Grogu do the same thing, you know, just a smaller version.
Oh my God, this guy needs money. Okay, hold on. I don't mean to stop the stream, but I really want to go see what this guy's streaming about. What's his name? Cortex Zero?
I don't even know if any of these are real.
Wow,
I don't know if any of these are even real.
Up. That's impressive.
It's a bot.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just, this is the first time
he's doing it.
This is the first time we've encountered this kind of craziness. This is fantastic. Welcome, Shia LaBeouf. Like Shia LaBeouf. Shika.
Okay, I'm in the stream. I'm saying hi.
Yeah, so there's a lot of meat on the bone still. I think we got a long way before we get down those roads. I genuinely think, you know, this whole phase this year is this next year is going to be about building the Mandalorian conquest and the retaking of Mandalore.
Right.
I think that's what the show is going to end with, is going to show us the Mandalorian, the one to bring all of Mandalore together, to reunite Mandalore, so to speak.
Well, and I think this is where it all goes into the whole, is it 3 seasons? Is it 4 seasons? I think the issue is people are wrapped around the axle, right, on this thing called The Mandalorian, which is what we've been watching, right? And how many seasons is it? And is the Book of Boba considered a Mandalorian season? Well, it has a different name, etc. And so a lot of people have been going back and forth on, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, and does it become something else? And what is, 3rd season and all that kind of stuff. And so I'll be curious to see that, right? I mean, I would love to see them do something great in the 3rd season. I think there's a lot of speculation that has a lot to do about Mandalore.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of interest there for them to finish that up. Then after that, I'd love to see the characters do something else, right? I mean, I'm all for it. By then we'll be entering into a territory, right, where I think maybe they haven't announced content yet, right? As we move into subsequent years, at least not streaming content. Maybe we'll hear something about it on November the 12th, right? When they have this Disney Plus, event and all this kind of stuff. I don't know.
I don't see us hearing anything about the next phase until next year.
It could be.
Right. I mean, really, the stuff that they have to go through before we even get to Mando 3 is just, it's going to blow people's heads off. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we got to get through Boba, Kenobi, Ahsoka, all of these other shows before people can even speculate about what's going on with Mandalorian season 3, 4, 5. I think people need to strap in, because things are going to get bumpy, right? and things are going to get exciting, and people that are worrying about season 4 of Mandalorian or season 5 of Mandalorian, just stop. Just pump the brakes. That's the one in the middle, the bigger one. Pump the brakes. Take a breath, and just enjoy what's coming before you worry about the next season of Mandalorian. How about we see the first episode of season 3
and then say
before we
something?
jump?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot more content to cover, right? They got to give us Boba because we might see Boba back in Mando. They got to give us Ahsoka because we might get Ahsoka in Mando, right? They got to give us Sabine in Ahsoka to maybe bring her into the Mandalorian, into all of it, because I think we're gonna see a lot of the Mandalorians that maybe they're old now, like Bo-Katan, right? I think we're gonna see some cameos from some faces of a time gone by, right? I think it's gonna be a lot of names that we've heard that we don't remember what happened to them, and I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. So I think let's get to the starting line first before we start talking about who's doing victory laps.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I do have something I want to discuss.
Sure.
Something that we brought up. Damn, who were we talking about this with? I can't remember what stream we were on. So, Beskar. That's what I want to talk about. I'm gonna get closer.
Okay.
Beskar. So, is Beskar, not only does Beskar obviously have amazing properties in fighting Jedi, right? Because that's why the armor was designed around that to work as an anti-measure to the Jedi's abilities, all their weapons and such. But is Beskar like Magneto's helmet? Does it keep the Jedi thoughts out?
No.
Then why did Maul not force the stormtroopers to let him out of the cage that he was in episode 7? Because
that's plastoid.
no,
Stormtroopers?
no, the cage that he was in at the end, that when Ahsoka captured him and they put him in that cage, and Ahsoka goes, your sister outlawed these. And Bo-Katan was like, oh yeah, we had this one laying around somewhere. And
right.
And it's a cage specifically for Jedi or Force users. And that cage is made of Beskar. So does Beskar act like Magneto's helmet and keep the Jedi thoughts or the Jedi from getting in their heads?
Or maybe Maul didn't know mind trick.
Oh, come on. He used it against Jesse. When he took Jesse and made Jesse tell him everything about Ahsoka.
Sorry, everybody. By the way, thank you, moderators, for handling everything. That's awesome. Thank you.
Solonic and Braden disappeared, so I.
Was that just you, man?
Yeah, it was fucking just me.
I heard it. It was feverish, the typing.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess when Maul was in that box, right?
You sure picked a night to come on.
Yeah,
I know,
man, right?
I do think that box was specially made, right, to suppress things. But was it because of the Beskar, or was it some other reason? I don't remember.
Yeah, there's something about like the Zilamari kind of vibe to it, right? Where it wouldn't be the Beskar, but something else that was inside it, some kind of ancient stuff we didn't know about when the Jedi Mandalore War was going on.
I just feel like what a wonderful reason for them to wear helmets, aside from armor, right? Like what a wonderful reason to explain why they wear helmets, right? And why their helmets are so sophisticated, right? Like I guess that I'm kind of hopeful, right? That maybe we'll get some kind of description as to how special Beskar is, right? Maybe when if and when the armor comes back into the fold, maybe we'll get a moment of the reason we use Beskar. Would love to see it. But yeah, that was my question, because we were talking about it the other day. I don't remember who I was talking about it with, but I brought it up and they're like, oh, that's a good idea. And just kind of interested what everybody has to say about that. It's not just me here.
To be fair, like Nikki, I haven't seen any of your takes. I don't know if you know this, but I haven't had anything going on in chat for like a long time. Feel free to resubmit at this point though, because now I can see it. Ooh,
Oh, we got one dislike. That's okay. I like that. That's probably the spammers.
No, the dislike, that's the thing about it. The dislike showed up some time ago, and when the whole spam bot thing happened on EBN, they never left a dislike. I think all I can do is spam the chat because there's not anybody really behind it, and whoever's running it could only dislike it once anyway, and they don't even seem to do that. So I don't know how it works.
All right, chat. I'm going to put this out there. X-Wing has been stuck in the 890s for days now. We need 6 of you to call your mama, call your friends that like Star Wars, give that man in the 900s so he can get one step closer to his 1,000. The nerds like put it in high gear and just throttled all the way to 1,000. And now we need to get X-Wing there. I do want to talk. I do have something else that's kind of been. I'm curious to hear your guys' opinion on. I personally think that you are going to have an easier time monetizing than myself or some of the other Star Wars content creators, because you're not doing a lot of content, Disney content.
I don't want to talk about that.
That's a big deal right now. Like you, for YouTube content creators, look what happened to Real Talk, right? All that work you put in, and they're just like, no, sorry, not going to let you do it. It's becoming more and more of a thing with more and more content creators. It is a big thing, especially for those of us that are creating content off of Star Wars.
Yeah, I'd just rather talk Star Wars right now, though. You know what I mean? You
Okay.
feel me? You feel me? You feel what I'm saying?
All right.
We can do that on like a Tube Talk or something like that. Tech Talk, Tube Talk, something like that. But anywho, so I'm still in this guy's live stream. Whoops. I'm giving him view time. Sorry,
Get out of there. Get out of there.
Yeah, I was gonna drop him a buck, but
I don't think it's really him though, right? Because we did the same research when it happened on EBN, and I even think he's put a video out that's like, it's not me, and that's part of the problem with this. And you saw it here, right? It's multiple different accounts of the same name. They're just picking names. I don't know how he drew the short straw, but I think it's not him.
Well, whatever. Anyways, so I think where they're moving forward, and especially with the Book of Boba, we're going to be seeing a lot more explanation into like Mandalorian culture, why they do what they do, why were Bo-Katan and Din Djarin basically at odds when they first met, when they're both Mandalorians. You know, a lot of casuals would be like, why? That doesn't make any sense. You guys are both Mandalorians. But exploring the reasons why Mandalore went the way it did in live action for kind of more of the normies to get it, I think that's probably the direction they're going. And that's why I think we're going to see Jango Fett in Book of Boba. We're going to see the Mandalorian Civil War. We'll see some more, as Obsession would say, connective tissue.
That's a bit of a stretch, though.
Why?
Because they only have so much time, and at least in Book of Boba, I can't see them putting that much time into why. I think we could get more of that in Mandalorian. I don't think they're going to waste the time in Book of Boba for it. I think they're
how is that a waste of time?
They don't have enough time. They're that 40 minutes, that 45 minutes is going to go in a blink when it comes to cutting this story up. And I just don't think they're going to have the time to explain. They could go into a little bit of the Mandalorian Civil War, maybe with Jango, but with Bo and Din, I think that's more of a story for the Mandalorian, being as they've already touched on that there. I think Book of Boba is going to give you the Boba you want. The straight, nasty, no holds barred Boba Fett that you guys want. I think blasters and a vicious Boba is what you guys are going to get, and I don't think they're going to show us any of that father son. Maybe if it's like that scene out of the comic where Boba and Jango are hunting, and Boba says something really messed up, and the bounty was like, oh well, you shouldn't have killed him. And Jango was like, it was Boba's idea, or it was Boba that did it. Like he was a vicious little kid, right? So if you're going to show me that, show me him being vicious, even to Jango's surprise, right? Because there are moments, I think, when Boba even surprises Jango by the things he says and does.
How nasty he is.
Yeah, and how vicious and vile he is.
But I mean, you're talking about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to say, right, I just think practically speaking for the Book of Boba Fett, right, I think they have to spend their time on 8 episodes, and I think this is the point Obsession was making also, right? They have to spend their time on 8 episodes connecting it back to things that the majority of the viewing population, or the quote-unquote mainstream viewing population, is going to understand, and it's going to resonate with them because they've seen it in the prequels, or they've seen it in the original trilogy, right? I think they have a better opportunity in Mando 3 and Ahsoka, right, to try and set up some of these things that either were more prevalent in the animated series or in books or non-movie medium, right, that they need time to storytell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people didn't even know who Bo-Katan was, right? I mean, again, there are those of us who know because we watched things that were not movies, right? Where these characters had an arc and things were said, right? But you have to think about the majority of live action viewers. They're seeing some of these characters for the first time.
Yeah.
And I personally don't think they're going to mix that into Book of Boba Fett. I really don't.
Okay, so here's my counterpoint to that, and this goes to what Anthony's saying here in the chat right now. So natural born Mandalorians versus foundling Mandalorians. That's one of the biggest issues, right? So this has been touched on in live action.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Bo meets Din, we see it once already. It's the first thing they describe, right? She takes off her helmet. You are not Mandalorian, right? Well, he's a foundling. Then it happens again when Boba shows up. You are not a Mandalorian.
Well, when
don't you mean
Boba
your
shows
donor?
up, yeah, when Boba shows up, it's more of a dig at he's a clone. It's not that Jango was or wasn't Mandalorian. It was that you're not because you came out of a tube, right? And that was more her. And that's why I think we're going to get it in Mandalorian, because it was so background in Mandalorian. I think Boba's going to give us some stories. Like I said, the Cad Bane background, maybe some Bosk meetups, maybe some of that kind of stuff.
But even Boba references it in Mando too. He pulls up chain code. This armor was my father's. Like, I just feel like it's got to be touched on at some point.
I think it's touched on more. I think that conversation just holds more weight with other Mandalorians present than just Boba Fett, right? It holds more weight with the Sasha Banks Mandalorian. I don't remember her name. It holds more weight with the armorer, right? Those conversations hold weight with many other Mandalorians present from other backgrounds. With Boba, it doesn't hold much because we know his story.
He's just a bounty hunter that wears Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, to himself. He's like, I don't want no part in that war. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here because I owe him. I'm not here for your war. Right.
And that came in. Yeah. They're like, you're not Mandalorian. He's like, never said I was.
Yeah. And he never, and it's not his fight. He's just in it because he owes a debt, and he's not a man that carries a debt card. Right. And I think when we're going to see more of the gritty underbelly, maybe of the guild, right? We may start to understand who do these guys report to, right? If the guild, maybe he goes after the guild as a whole to take over the guild, right?
Maybe that ties in with Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. I mean, the guild's clearly run by the underworld, and Boba's on a freaking streak with the underworld right now.
Right.
That could definitely tie in that way.
I think we're more likely to see the Western that we've been getting. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, because that's who taught Boba.
I didn't know it said Jasta Mareel.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Boba story is more to give us the gritty underbelly of the galaxy and show us what really the guild is really about at its core. And I think we might see him go after some Hutts, you know, some of these people in power of the underworld. You know, maybe we see some Pikes, maybe we see this and that, but I really think that the Boba show is going to focus more on Boba, his past, present. I even think we may get that scene on Tatooine where he rescues Fennec, right? And Fennec swears her allegiance, right? Like, I think we're going to get a lot of that stuff. Like, why did you rescue me? Because you didn't need to die, right? Like, I have a need for you, or something along those lines, to show that he's not doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He's doing it because you facilitate a mission. You're going to help.
He's the gray guy.
Yeah, you're going to help me get my armor back, right? And then you're going to help me get everybody else, or I'm going to leave you on this table to die. What's it going to be, right? Show me those scenes, right? Those are the scenes I think we're going to get in Boba, versus any of this. You know, my father was a Mandalorian from. He doesn't know that shit, really. Maybe he does, but it seems like he doesn't care about it at all.
I think the whole all killer, no filler, and the extra hype and some of the other things that are being told to us are basically telegraphing the fact that the story, I want to say this the right way because I want it to be positive, right? That I don't think the Book of Boba Fett is going to be a deep story. I think it's going to be an exciting story. I think it's going to fit together well, and I think we're going to see the Boba that everybody has always wanted to see. But I don't know how much we're going to see in the Book of Boba Fett that sets up other things we're going to see in the future. That's what I'm curious about. And that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad story or it's going to be a poorly written show, right? But I think it's going to be a very different kind of show when we think about how Mandalorian is setting up Ahsoka and some of these other things, right? And then of course Mando 3 and whatever else may come. I'm getting the impression that this is just going to be an action-packed thrill ride, right? And if so, are they going to have a lot of time to tell a new story? I personally don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think in 8 episodes. Now, if they decide to extend it and do multiple seasons, then cool. Then we can get into all that. But I think the first 8 episodes, if they just do one season, they're gonna pump it full of gasoline and they're gonna light it on fire. It's not gonna be slow. It's not gonna be a slow burn. It's gonna be action from Jump Street from end to end. And at the end of the day, you're gonna be thanking me. You're gonna be walking away thanking me.
I just have one question. You're bored?
It's treason, then.
Get out of here. No, I'm just kidding.
Kill him. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good year, and I think, you know, Boba's gonna light it off like the first fireworks on 4th of July, right? The first thing you see in the sky is big and wonderful, and I think that's what this is going to be. It's going to be straight from the gut.
Did we get a confirmed what planet he came from? I thought he said it once. Maybe I'm crazy.
Who?
I don't think he ever said it.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he did either.
Yeah, where Din came from, because we saw the CIS came in, man, and those like real ass live action B2 battle droids were the scariest thing I've seen on camera. Like ever.
Rad?
Oh my god, they were sick.
Yeah, those were rad.
It's just weird seeing them because I mean, yeah, we got them in the prequels, but for some reason, man, they were just ominous. They were
somehow
ominous.
they managed to make them extra ominous, right? Because they were supposed to be from a child's point of view, and I'm not quite sure. I think they just because they made them larger than life, right? You felt like you were that age looking at those things.
Yeah, it must have been how they shot it or something. I don't know, man. That was beautiful.
It was amazing. That was one of the best scenes, I think, just seeing the Mandalorians come in and just wiping up, and then seeing it from above, right? Like, not only did you get this action, but you get it as he's floating away.
Yeah. And the
like,
Mando's jumping in.
Yeah, you just see like ones are landing, other ones are like boom, 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 like falling backwards and shooting.
Oh, man.
It was just one of the coolest scenes. I get goosebumps just talking about it now, and that's why I think the Mandalorian, like, that was a teaser of what a group of cohesive Mandalorians could do, right? Much like Bo-Katan and the Four when they were walking through the Moff's ship, right? They were precise and on point. Now imagine 1,000 of them,
Right.
10,000 of them, led by 2 to 4 Jedi against the Empire, what's left of the Moffs. Like
Oh, they'd
that
be
would,
cremated.
just
Yeah.
it would just be awesome to see, jetpacks from all directions and just ground battles and taking out ships, kind of like the Siege of Mandalore, but backwards.
Right. They're taking them
Right.
back.
Yeah, that would be just fire for me.
That was honestly so. Like Luke is obviously my number one favorite scene, but my second one is on Navarro when the culvert comes out and they just start wrecking people. That was I was shaking. I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life, man.
Well, and then at the end of that battle, it's so great because you see him flying with Grogu, and then like one of them comes by and salutes as he's going. He's like, "I got to get me one of those."
That was that was Jon Favreau, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's just like even hearing Din go, "Man, I got to get me one of those." Just talking about that jetpack the same way Sabine did in Rebel.
Good Star Wars humor.
Right.
That's good Star Wars humor. Not I have an urgent communique for your mom, but I got to get one of those. That's Star Wars humor. You know what I mean?
It's Sabine said it,
Do we have any idea how many Mandalorians there really are around in the Mandalorian timeline? I mean, I know we saw in the covet, right? But I mean, sometimes I hear folks say things like they're going to reunite the Mandalorians and they're going to do this, that, and the other. And I think to myself, are there even that many to unite at this point, right? It acts like there's millions is an exaggeration, right? But it acts like there's quantities of Mandalorians spread all over the place that are just waiting to come back together. And I'm just not, is that true?
I don't think they're waiting for this, reunion call, but I definitely think that they're
there's no bat signal, right?
Because there's one thing Mandalorians are good at, and that's surviving. Right. They're real good at surviving no matter what the cost. So I feel like if we saw a covert with like, let's just be generous and call that 25 Mandalorians, right? There's got to be one of those on every backwater planet, right? If not bigger.
Right.
And so I feel like there could be 1,000 Mandalorians rolling around, right? Especially with foundlings and all this stuff.
Easy.
Right?
Easy 1,000.
I'm being generous. I'm being real generous. I think there could be up to 5,000 to 10,000 Mandalorians scattered across the galaxy. Some in prison, right? Maybe the Empire took a bunch of them prisoner. The ones that turned on their own people and became part of the Empire, there's a whole couple platoons of them running around. I think there's a bunch of Mandalorians running around, not hiding, just not in the forefront. And that's kind of the vision I have for the future, is that I believe that Din Djarin could be the uniting factor, being
right. And now they hear stories of a Mandalorian who defeated Moff Gideon on his own personal cruiser
and took the
Darksaber. Yeah.
Right.
Like they're gonna rally around that.
Yeah, I think that's a big selling point leading to the future of possibly season 3, is that we know what that Darksaber is capable of. We saw what it did in Rebels. We know why Bo-Katan wants it so bad, because whoever holds that sword, holds that saber, has the right to rule Mandalore. Yeah. And it was taken legitimately in battle. The only thing he didn't do is kill him. And so for me, that solidifies Din Djarin could go to any covert across the galaxy, and then he could take off his helmet and they could start shitting on him, and he pulls out the Darksaber and says, I rule Mandalore. Everybody bow.
It's got to be I am Mandalore.
I am, whatever it is. I rule. Whatever his line is makes them kneel, because they all know the story and the lore of the Darksaber. Right.
Well, and that's the other interesting thing about it, right? I mean, I think we also visualize this triumphant return to a planet that people want to inhabit, right? And all this kind of, we don't even know, we have heard it spoken about, right, in almost riddles, right? But we're not even sure what condition the planet is for them to return to.
It's not in good shape.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not in great shape, but your home's is homes.
No, I
Yeah.
got you. I
You know?
got you.
And not only that, I mean, I really think that because Moff Gideon made such a big point to laugh at Bo-Katan and say, you know, she can't take it. It has to be earned in battle. Like that's a big there's a reason that was the last thing that dude really said.
Yeah. They're
Because
Spartans.
they're Spartans, and whoever holds it, if you want to come take it from me, challenge me. But if you're not going to challenge me, bend the knee. And that's what the Darksaber represents to them. And so I think that he could rally a large army to take back Mandalore. And I think that would be the best season finale for a season 3 is everybody meeting up on Mandalore to take back their homeworld. And then maybe in season 4 we can see if they give us. But
All right, so we'll close this out because we're running out of time, boys. But let's close it out. So Phil McCracken is convinced that even a small fleet of Imperials could wipe out, say, I don't know, call it, for posterity's sake, let's call it 5,000 Mandos and 3 Star Destroyers that are deploying their fleet down to the planet. Who's gonna win?
Well, go ahead, please, Moff. I insist you go first.
Well, two things, right? Number one, I think there is an assumption that the Imperials may already be occupying or somehow influencing what is going on in Mandalore, and or Moff Gideon was involved with that, firstly. But secondly, at this point, with the Imperial remnant and things being what they are, do we really think they have 3 Star Destroyers to spare on this problem? Again, I think it comes down to what's the state of Mandalore? Why are they there in the first place? And what does it matter now in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. Maybe the Empire at its height obviously was able to subjugate Mandalore in
Right.
some way. So I think there's veracity in what Phil is saying, but in regards to what do they care about now, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the Empire or the remnants of the Empire, I don't think they have 2 nickels to scratch. I mean, a squad of 5 people took a light cruiser, right?
Of clearly a major Moff.
Right, of a major Moff. And then yes, they would have got smoked if Luke hadn't showed up because he had like the highest of weaponry. But I mean, at that point, once the Imperial remnants hears that that Moff Gideon, who had all of the best new shiny toys, got his ass kicked, it's not gonna matter how, right? He got taken down by Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians. And I think that sparks again, I just think that sparks hope, right? And that's kind of what Star Wars does for me. It sparks hope that Mandalorians can come back. And I would like to see that. I would like to see them rally behind a new figurehead and then watch Bo-Katan gut him and take it from him, and then we go on. But yeah, I digress. But I think it's important. Mandalore is an important piece of the puzzle right now.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, Battle of Jakku, that would have happened before this.
Yeah.
I'm pooped.
Yeah.
There was some good conversation tonight, but yeah, I think in the end all be all, we really don't know what the hell is going to happen.
No.
We don't really know. And don't say, what are you talking about, Jakku talk? That was something that happened a long time before the sequel trilogy stuff ever came down. Jakku was a big thing before the sequels came out, so I don't even want to hear any about that. But anyway, Master Rissman, thank you so much for joining us. That was a wonderful Boomer Council. I look forward to hanging out with you again. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm excited for stuff to come. It's slow on news. We're just hanging out and being geeks, man. So that's where I'm at.
That's it. We need to do some more. We need to do some more gaming soon, whenever everybody has some time. But Yeah, man, I think I think we'll get some new news here coming up in the next couple weeks. There's a lot of big stuff coming at the end of the year.
For sure. They'll keep us fed.
Yeah.
They'll keep us fed.
Get
Master Rissman, anything you want to say?
No, just thanks again for having me. Obviously, I'm sorry about the bots, but thanks everyone in the chat for hanging with us. Really enjoyed this. So thanks again so much.
Quality work on being on the stream and modding at the same time, because they left you on the top of the hill with a machine gun and they're like, good luck.
Yeah, I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
Okay, guys. I hope today found you well. I hope tomorrow finds you better. May the force be with you. I'm Commander. I'm out. Good night, guys.